Hi, I'm Mark the Family Woodworker. This is one of my earliest and easiest furniture projects, a simple walnut slab, flattened and rounded, sanded and finished with some store-bought legs. That was way more than 10 years ago, and I thought it was time to up my game, in this case with a little Nordic furniture design. My inspiration came from a coffee table design found on a recent Viking cruise. It has a rounded rectangular marble top and some walnut legs, where the leg geometry showed two split legs off of a bottom trestle at 90 degrees, leaving the other inside corners at 135 degrees each. The legs stood almost squarely upright, though they did look to have a slight angle leading towards the top. Since my shop isn't called the Family Marble Worker,
oh yeah?
I wanted to make my own design all out of hardwood with a Viking table as inspiration. At home, I've got this really wide plank of figured maple to start with. Some of the wood grain patterns look pretty wicked actually, but we're also going to spice up that wood grain a little bit more. For the legs, I've got some dark Michigan walnut that was milled from a storm-damaged tree, and these 1 1/4 by 1 1/2 inch cuts will be perfect for my plan. I really never liked the idea of stealing somebody else's design, but sometimes inspiration for a project like this comes from outside sources. You see something really cool, and then an idea pops into your head for how you can make something similar but unique based on your own design.
Usually you pay double for that kind of action cotton.
Respectful of the original designer, I'm going to modify the geometry of this leg construction and the overall shape of the tabletop as well. I played around with a couple different oval designs, settling in on a wide arc drawn with a longer length of string. The ends were rounded off by using a high-tech mathematical drawing method known as a pickle bucket lid. This gave me a wider tabletop at 18 inches with an overall length of 38 inches. My janky cardboard template will be great for laying out the cut on that maple top. Now I'm going to need a good-sized slab of maple to work with, so it's off to cutting, planing, and jointing the top. I'm going to deliberately ruin the purity of this expensive figured maple top by staining it with clothing dye.
You must be joking.
I know, save your hate mail until I reveal the final surface, but it's a similar dye method used by guitar makers to accentuate the patterns in quarter sawn wood grain. I blended a couple colors to give me a medium brown tint and then washed that dye over the top, hopefully soaking in the color into that softer wood grain. The washing result absolutely ruins the look of the maple, but after drying we're going to sand almost all of that color off. All that will remain is a slight tinting of the cross grain in the maple, and that'll stand out when adding the final finish. I sanded the top down to 320 grit and then flipped it over to cut in a 45-degree beveled edge on the underside. The top is going to get a 1/4 inch roundover bit treatment, and that'll reveal the final profile of the table edge. And with the final beveling and rounding of the tabletop done, it's off to leg design. Here are the basic dimensions of the leg pieces, which will initially be end grain butt jointed together. But before you wig out on that bad choice of glue methods, stick around to see what VOODOO hybrid tenon joinery I used to strengthen the base of the frame. Now with the base glued together on the end grain, what does an average family woodworker do to reinforce that strange three-pronged joint? Let's do something crazy with fiberglass and epoxy. I've made a few wood and fiberglass watercraft over the years, and marine-grade epoxy layered with fiberglass is about as tough as you can possibly imagine. So with a little template that fits inside the 3 walnut prongs of the base, we're going to cut out a bunch of 6-ounce fiberglass shapes and then mortise out that fat letter Y about 3/4 of an inch deep. After we finish that solution, we still need to come up with another unlikely but rock-solid joinery method for the table mount. You'll love that one too. Stick around.
Back out of the night!
With the legs constructed and reinforced, it was time to center and mark positions for the legs on the tabletop, and then dive into the fun and excitement of finish sanding and adding multiple layers of lacquer. After that, we have one more magic VOODOO joinery surprise to attach the tabletop to the leg structure. Now I'm going to get pretty non-traditional again with joinery here by using steel threaded rod and epoxy to mount the top to the legs. Ridiculous, you say? I actually saw this featured in an old copy of Fine Woodworking magazine, and I've used it successfully on other projects. It's really rock solid and stronger than using wooden dowels. It's kind of strange, I know, but really effective and a nice hidden joint on the underside of the table. Once this connection is made and the epoxy cures, my little homage to Scandinavian table design is done. The three-pronged tenon made out of epoxy and fiberglass really worked out great actually, as did the mounting of the top with the threaded rod and epoxy. The darkening of that cross grain with fabric dye worked out pretty great too, highlighting the figure in the maple, and I really like the combination of the maple top with the walnut legs married to all that uncommon angle geometry. It makes a great addition to my family room. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Please consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. It really does help us get noticed in the massive world of YouTube. Take care.